Alright everybody, welcome back to another DIY Home and Auto video. Today we're going to be busting into this box here. This should have our new engine that's going to go into Midnight Maroon. We're just going to open it and see what's inside. Pretty sure this top box is going to have
it's the oil gasket kits, stuff like that. I'm guessing, I don't know, we'll find out. Alright, crack that sucker open, let's see what we got. I should make you guess at what some of these things are.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know the words. This looks like it's the
Valley pan gasket. That's the intake manifold gasket. It's bent a little bit right here.
That's exactly what I was
So
going to say.
you need to be a little careful with that guy. You've got to make sure we don't dent that so it seals up good.
Yo, yeah, it's super.
Yeah, it's aluminum, so it's
flimsy.
super flimsy.
I just bent it back. This one's bent too.
Oh, more gaskets. Don't lose any of those things. We need all those things.
We got these.
That's all part of the intake gasket seal kit, apparently. So
that's it.
Alright, well, maybe the oil is actually in the engine. That'd be awesome. That means it has an oil pan already. Which means we wouldn't need the old one from over here.
Gotcha. Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then it's tied to one of the things. Oh, just kidding, it's cut. Freaking fancy, man. There's all our oil and stuff. Okay. And gasket kits. We're sitting a little bit crooked.
Gaskets.
So it doesn't have valve covers. So that's, we gotta clean up yours and paint that.
Yeah, this gasket. Pump oil.
Ah. Oh, it's the oil pump. It's the actual, and there's a gasket in there. We gotta not lose any of our parts and pieces. This should be installed already. That's our zinc, and I don't know what that is. Oh, that's the drive shaft for the oil pump. So that goes with the oil pump. My tin snips to cut those metal straps.
Best part. Jeez. You get whipped in the face.
Does that look familiar?
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Boom.
Look at how shiny clean. Oh yeah. That's awesome.
She's all lubed up.
Alright, so we do need the timing cover from your old engine. The flywheel cover will go on this side. We also have that. I've already cleaned that because I knew we'd need that. And we do need the oil pan. That one. So we got to get that thing cleaned up, painted. What color do you want your engine to be? Say black.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Because it's already painted black.
Okay. Perfect.
But we can paint all these other parts. So we're going to need those 2 valve covers. We're going to need the oil pan. We're going to need the exhaust manifolds because I can't afford headers right now. I apologize to the guy that I kind of made a soft agreement to sell those to. So I apologize to that. We're actually going to have to use those for budget reasons. This is expensive. That's expensive. Let's not break it.
Okay, so.
Alright, so first things first, we got to get that thing off the pallet onto the cherry picker and then onto the engine stand. That's what that thing's called. Alright, we got to do a quick cleanup. We'll be back in a second. Alright, try jacking that thing up and let's see what happens.
cardboard box will probably help.
Yeah, it'll help it slide up underneath there. When it goes to drop off the edge of the pallet, it's when it's going to swing.
Whoa.
Got your steel-toed Vans on? Sweet. Alright, now we just got to get it up in the air high enough to get the engine stand underneath. Alright, so we finally got that thing on there. Had to use stacks of washers in certain ones and nuts in other ones. We think we have it all secure. How confident are we?
I'm pretty confident.
Alright, go for it. Let's lower that thing down slowly. See what happens. See if I built this engine stand well enough. Oh, hold up. We're pivoting on these two. We need to tighten those more. The two that I did are not tight enough. I'm not strong, but like you, boy. That one and that one, yep.
Okay, ready?
Yep, ready.
Let's see if this works. Just tell me when.
Go ahead. You'll see the chains lighten.
That thing ain't moving a muscle.
Yeah. There
Nice.
you go. Take those screws out to hold those chains.
All right.
Take those. I'll take them.
Oh.
Joe's hands will be famous.
Okay, so we just took apart this this timing cover. We had this seal on here, and we tried looking up which way it comes out. If it comes out this way, if it comes out that way, and we couldn't really find a good answer for it. So we kind of guessed. We looked up what one of these things new looks like, and it had this little piece. It was really hard. It's hard to explain, but it was flat like this before, and we weren't sure if this needed to come off. But we ended up figuring out. So in case anybody else is looking for an answer to this, then it does come out like that. We just used a screwdriver and just pried it up, and then afterwards we were able to tap it out from
And
this.
it comes out from the
this
front.
end.
So from the water pump side, it comes out of the engine like that. And that was completely flat up against the cover.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look up a new seal part, you can see that that flange is still on there, and that's what gave us our clue.
Mm-hmm.
Which direction that thing comes out. So
There you go. You're welcome.
Alright, so I took the couple of these parts for a ride on the wire wheel. Bet you can't tell which ones. So yeah, that took about 20 minutes or so to do all of these. I got down the inside of that, not as good as I probably would like to, but definitely not down inside the barrel of that. But this one's really good compared to the before. I even ran the bolts through it. They were really rusty. This one here cleaned up pretty good, but I'm going to spray those with rust converter first, and probably just a gloss black like we've done with all of the other parts underneath the hood. These are greasy enough that I'm going to put them through the degreaser and get those cleaned up first. Then we'll see how much rust is on them. With as much grime and tar, oil buildup is on that one, I doubt there's any rust underneath that. But you never know, there's lots of rust on everything. Motor mounts, kind of crusty and gross. Those are going to go through, get cleaned up as best as we can, and then I'll look at them and see if we're going to be replacing them. We'll probably use them. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. But I'm not going to bore you with the details. I'll show you an after of these parts. So I saved this last one to show you exactly what I'm doing here. My black gloves are not going to do this justice though. Maybe if we compare two of them. So the one on the left has not been through the wire wheel yet. The one on the right has. So I've been doing this for hours and hours and hours. I figured that now is as good a time as any because everything's out. These are the oil pan bolts. I know that because of how they are, and also because I labeled them. Don't be scared to label stuff. Makes reassembly a lot easier. I start digging through my boxes and I'm like, what the heck is this? And I'm like, oh, look, a label. So now I know. Oil pan. So let's put this through the wire wheel. I'll show you kind of what I'm up against over here. Your fingers get tired. When I start getting lazy with it, I stop. Oops. I stop and move on to something else so that I still have the attention to detail. So I'm giving every single one of them a similar experience. Let's go take a ride on the wire wheel. And next to go through are the valve cover bolts. All of the hardware that came from the valve covers went in a bag labeled valve covers. That's how I keep things straight. This is also a good opportunity for me to remind you to like, subscribe, share, do all those things. Love you guys. Appreciate it. Let's do it. Oh, it's also going to look like my fingers are really close to the wheel, and they are. You can see it's gotten my glove a couple times. I've found that it's easier to control using my fingers than holding it with the pliers, and I've had it actually slip out of the pliers and go flying. I haven't lost one from my fingers yet. And just like that, we have a finished product. Each one takes a little while, so it's going to take you some time. I am going to paint these blue. See that in just a second as well, just so that they match the oil pan. Just trying to clean things up while we have the chance. Like, share, subscribe, do all the things. Thanks, guys. Using Rust-Oleum high heat primer. Temperature's up to 2,000 degrees. We also used this on the exhaust. Well, I've used this on all the parts as far as the primer goes, but the exhaust manifold's got this. And the high heat 2000 degree. We're using a flat black on those. You're hardly going to see them, but we don't want them to stick out like rusty. So that's what we did on the exhaust manifold. And then on the intake manifold, we just used engine enamel. 500 degrees is fine with that one. Primer first. Spray from all angles so you get all the corners. Let that dry for a second, and then Duplicolor engine, Ford blue. That's what the color is on all the parts that are blue. Ford blue. Done, son. But essentially that's the process for all of the bolts that I'm using on the engine bay. Some of the parts are going black, some are going blue. Here's a look at, well, there's a tub of the leftovers. There's the power steering pump. Water pump, I'm getting a new water pump. You can actually tell that it's been seeping out, so we're just going to replace that while we have everything out. Fan, I'm probably just going to clean up. I don't know if I'll paint that or not, but alternator's still in there. Basically, this was everything that came off the front of the engine as we were tearing it down, tearing it apart. Intake manifold, a couple of the brackets here and there, the pulleys, valve covers, exhaust manifold. And we actually had a hairline crack. Let me get another light on here. We had a hairline crack in this one down right through there. We watched a YouTube video and Tavish said basically, oh, I got this. Hopefully that will hold. It wasn't cracked all the way through as far as I could tell, but it was definitely a hairline crack. Take care of those kind of things. Painting them black made that reveal. We couldn't see it, or I never noticed it before until we actually painted that part. I did get new hardware for exhaust, so hopefully I can get those things out of there without breaking them off. That might be fun. But anyway, that's the process we're doing. Wire wheel for hours and hours, cleaning things up, rust reformer, primer and paint on all the things. We'll eventually get the engine actually assembled. There's the oil pan. You can actually see we didn't do a great job on that one. You can actually see some of the black coming through. I'll probably put a couple more coats on that. But nobody will see it except for me and Tavish unless you really want to see it, and then you can get on your hands and knees and crawl under his truck and look at it. Come meet us at some truck shows and whatnot, car shows. We do plan on doing several events like that. I have a 351 long block essentially for sale if anybody wants that. I haven't listed it or put a price on it, but that's the one that came out. It was leaking oil like crazy, probably just some seals to seal things up. It The head gaskets were fine. I don't think there's any warping or anything like that. It was just leaking like crazy. We've pulled since, obviously, all of the pistons and whatnot, the crank, all that stuff out, so it's going to need to go to a machine shop and be gone over and put back together. But anyway, it's a working block and working cylinder heads. Just needs a little bit of TLC and some attention. Could do somebody some good. So there you go. Salt Lake City, if you're in the area and you need something like that, look me up. Anyway, fun stuff and keeping me busy and out of the cold. And since insulating the garage, we're keeping this at a balmy 50, what is that? 55 degrees, but it's also sitting right above my heater. It stays about 50 in here without a heater on. I just have the heater on to help stuff like this dry faster. Just speeds things up. So when I go back inside, I actually flip the switch and turn that off. Too much information, I know, but that's the process behind the scenes. Parts labeled everywhere. I gotta make sure I don't lose anything. Yikes. So thanks for watching today's video. In the next video, we're going to start assembly of the engine. So be sure and like, share, subscribe, comment down below, whatever you want to do. I really appreciate the support. Also be sure to follow me on Instagram. I've got a Facebook presence as well. Links are in the description down below. And I'll see you guys in the next video.